Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 1. Another loss. I'm a bit heartbroken, to be honest. I'm disappointed. I'm hurt. I am, because you know what? That first half, we played really well with the team that we had. We played really good, and we looked like we could do something. And you know, we went down again the second half. We lost Bruno Fernandes. And, I just felt like, Villa weren't that great. Lenny Yoro, you can't do what you did on the first goal. The second goal, again, he's too slow. I mean, it's not 100% on him, for the entire loss, but I definitely, the first goal, you got to do better. And I'm not even angry. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed, because we were there. We were, it was there for us to go out there and win. Villa weren't scintillating. They didn't dominate us. We played really well for large parts of the match. But the firepower wasn't there today. We got a bit fortunate for our goal, but we took our chance. And, to me, it sort of felt even, because the first goal, that should never happen. Morgan Rodgers should never be allowed to cut back inside. He should never be allowed to get that space. He should never be allowed to get that shot off. So, we kind of gifted that to them, in my opinion. And, that should never be happening. But, probably from their end, the way they lost the ball and we won it back and then we scored from that, they would probably say that shouldn't happen either. So I just kind of felt like, it was to a certain degree, going in the first half, it was sort of deserved. We messed up, they capitalized, they messed up, we capitalized, and I think the first half we were a better team. But Bruno, highly concerned that Bruno wasn't going to make it back. Obviously pulled the hamstring, and obviously didn't come back, and we lost our captain. And it's one thing to say, you lose Bruno Fernandes, but not when you already lost Diallo, not when you already lost Embuemo, not when you already don't have Casemiro, not when you already don't have De Ligt and you don't have Maguire. To lose Bruno Fernandes in that game, I think we saw it in the second half. I think it sucked the life out of the team a little bit, and we didn't really have room for that to happen, did we? We didn't, because we were already a little bit down. So, listen, we'll break down the match a little bit more. We'll get into it. Please make sure you smash the like button. Get involved in the chat. If you're new, subscribe. We are trying to get to 3,500 subscribers. So subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell icon. But guys, listen, it just was, it was a match that, unfortunately, we just didn't have enough. And I don't know. I feel really hard done by. I'm not angry with the manager. I'm not angry with sort of the players. I'm disappointed. I feel let down, because I think if the circumstances, considering the squad, weren't so shit, I think this is a match that we actually could have went on, and probably should have went on to win. I think we definitely could have done that, but we didn't. And now we have to be concerned. Kobe Mainu as well. I forgot to mention him, but Kobe Mainu picking up an injury, not being available. I mean, today for me, the team is just, hard done by. I mean, it really is hard done by. Hard done by for Kobe. Everybody felt like he was going to start today. This was his chance. No, Cass picks up an injury and he's out. A guy that we say is never injured and that competes for his position in Bruno Fernandes literally never gets injured, and gets injured in a match where we couldn't afford for him to get injured. We really couldn't afford that to happen. Of all the times that it never happened, today was one of those games that it couldn't happen. It shouldn't have happened. We couldn't afford it to happen, and it did happen. And I think it made I think you saw the team in the second half. Listen, Lisandro Martinez came in. He played in the middle. Villa weren't that great. We gifted them 2 goals, in my opinion. Lenny Yoro, he's got to do better. He's a young guy, but he's got to do better. And this is why we sort of seen some of the experience stick around, and I think this is for reasons because they are not fully developed. There will be moments in games where they don't do well. Now, I think Aiden Heaven did phenomenal in the middle, so I think Aiden Heaven did really well in the center, and that's great. That's great for him, and he's definitely picked it up over the last couple matches. If you think about his sort of first performance when he first came back into the team after not being around for a little bit, he has picked it up. So, excuse me, I'm just putting out a tweet. So I got a tweet about the show. Yes. Listen. Lisandro did well when he came in there. He got a good 45 minutes. I think the total amount of time he played was about 50 something minutes since he's come back in total. So he played the full 45 plus a little bit of injury time. And I think he did well in there as well. So he did well. I think Mason Mount had a good game. I liked Mason Mount's game. Mateus Cunha, he's got to do better, man. I mean, he had a couple opportunities. And, we were really relying on him a lot today. We needed him to put the ball into the back of the net. And he did put the ball into the back of the net in terms of he scored the one goal we had. But those other chances, I mean, that header off target, you say to yourself, you back Cunha to score that, and it wasn't even on target. So, we needed him to really, really step it up today because unfortunately, we wore down sort of to the bare bones. And, on a couple of the positive notes, I mean, Lacey got on the pitch. It was good to see him. Fletcher got on the pitch, making their debuts. And, like I said, another solid performance from Aiden Heaven. And Martinez looked comfortable in the middle. And, we're moving on to Newcastle, and that's going to be sort of another tough match as well. So it is what it is, I guess. I mean, I just feel a bit heartbroken. I feel a bit hard done by because again, Villa weren't great. They really weren't. And for a team that has won 9 in a row, and for where we were in terms of when you look at our squad, when you look at the depth, when you look at how we've sort of went from having too many players to basically not having enough players. I mean, we didn't even have really, backup options in. We didn't even have backup options for the wing backs. I mean, there's Malacia, but is he really an option? I don't consider him an option. He shouldn't even be at this football club. He was supposed to not even be here. So, but yeah, I mean, it is just a bit. It just sucks. It sucks. I mean, we could have just, we could have got something out of this. I feel like a loss is shit, to walk away from here. At the very least, considering the circumstances, I would have taken a draw, and I would have been okay with a draw. I mean, the performance itself was pretty good from Manchester United, especially the first half. But then, again, pain in the ass, like you do 44 minutes well, and you switch off for 45 seconds, and Morgan Rodgers scores a fucking worldie and you go down. But, we did rectify it and we went into halftime at 1-1. So, Montanto didn't come on, but listen, I think there's going to be a couple more opportunities going forward. I think it was a lot for, Ruben having to put on these players. People will be happy about it. It's good to see them. I'm happy about it, but I don't think people should get carried away. I mean, listen, let's be real. And, I'm always real. These kids probably wouldn't have gotten sort of these chances at this moment in time. I mean, they had to. He's literally forced into it. So, he could have really been more stubborn and not put them on. I mean, he didn't have to make any subs if he really so chooses to, but I think that's quite illogical. I think when you look at the situation, after some point, he held out for quite a bit, but, we were down. We needed to make a change. We needed to try and change the game, and there's nobody else really on the pitch. I mean, Xerxes came on, and after Xerxes, that's about it. So, I did expect a couple of the kids to come on at some point, and, just because there's just no other option. There's just no other choice. I mean, we have two goalkeepers on the bench. I think it says it all. So, um, and the thing I will say for these kids is that, listen, like, maybe you wouldn't be getting this opportunity if this situation wasn't happening. But what I will say is that this situation is happening. And so, you're getting the opportunity. So take the opportunity. You know what I mean? Would we have maybe necessarily seen Jack Fletcher if Kobe wasn't injured and Bruno didn't get injured? I don't think we would, but maybe we would have, maybe we wouldn't. But this is football. This is what we talk about. Sometimes things happen, shit happens, and circumstances and sort of just chances will pop up. So it's a bit unfortunate on this. Lucky says grafted well again. 3 matches. I'm with the manager. We put kids and let their time. Well, listen. I mean, he doesn't really have a choice. I don't know. The reason why I'm saying this is I don't think people should get carried away and say Ruben's changing. He's changing. I think he's changing because, again, I don't think he's a dumb man. I think, and he's not that stubborn. Like, he has to change because of the situation. Like, he is being adaptable right now. But when things go back to sort of how they were before, unless somebody really takes their chance, I expect things to go back the other way. I expect sort of, the main players to play. I expect sort of the younger players to not really feature much or be around as much. But under the circumstances, it is what it is. So, I mean, now we're going to have to see, what's this injury of Bruno Fernandes? It seemed to be his hamstring. There's only a little bit of hope because this guy doesn't really get injured, and the one time I think he did get injured, I mean, he recovered phenomenally fast, but he's still a human being. I mean, a hamstring could take you a few weeks. I've done it a few times, and it is one that is a pain in the ass. I mean, it restricts you from kicking the ball. If it's your kicking leg, it restricts you from kicking the ball with full power. If it's really bad, if you pull it really bad, it's, it hurts to walk. So, let alone run. So, I see some people out here trying to be all angry and stuff like that. I don't think you can be that angry. So, Amorim was asked about Bruno Fernandes' injury. He said, we have to cope. We will find solutions. He also said it is soft tissue, so it's going to take a while. Well, that's not good news at all. So that's not good news at all. I think in the span of about the same day or 2 days, we've lost Bruno Fernandes, and he's going to be out for a while. And we've lost Kobe Mainoo, and, they said it was a small calf injury, but they also said that he might be out for a couple weeks. So, a minute ago here, Kobe Mainoo is expected to be out for a week or so with a slight calf injury he suffered in training yesterday. So, I mean, maybe that's slightly positive because before the match, they said he was injured, and then they said that he might be out for a few weeks. So, listen, if he's expected to be out for a week, he's not going to make it to the Newcastle match. I mean, the Newcastle match is looking a lot more dark now, isn't it? Because, I mean, we've lost our captain. He ain't going to make it. Kobe ain't going to make it. The only positive is that Casemiro will be back, so that'll be good. And maybe we'll use Mason Mount in that position instead of Bruno. Or maybe he'll go with Ugarte. Because, Ugarte, again, like, sort of defensively, he isn't bad. He does a decently good job defensively, but it's his offensive sort of thing. You know what I mean? It's his offense. I mean, his passing range is not good at all. He can't do long passes. The IQ in terms of, you can see he constantly turns around when he gets on the ball. He doesn't want to make a mistake. He doesn't want to give it away. I think he sort of feels the pressure too much. Andresita says, I wonder if Cunha is going to get the same energy people have for Bruno's hand waving, yelling at teammates and talking and taking crazy shots. Well, I don't know if he does, but I don't know if he will. But I guess Andresito, I mean, that's on them. To me, I've never had a problem. I understand this is how these players are. I don't know if it's an English thing and the English people have to understand, but this is Portuguese, this is Brazilian, this is what they do. They are very animated. They are very, sort of emotional people. They do this sort of thing. It's I'm Maltese. I'm a little bit similar to like the Italians. Talk with our hands. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. So I never had a problem with it. I seen him do it. It doesn't, it's not going to bother me. But if other people have a problem with it, I mean, it'll be interesting. But I don't think that's really, people are going to talk about that. And again, I think that's just some pointless shit to have a conversation about. I really don't think that that's sort of a big thing to be an issue about. There's so many other things that we got to worry about now. You know what I mean? And Lucky says Newcastle will get hammered by Manchester United. Well, I'm glad you're so confident because I'm not confident at all. I don't think. Listen, you watch the players, you see the players go out there. They are giving the effort, and they're giving a lot. So I'm not worried about sort of getting destroyed, but I'm not confident in getting a win against Newcastle. Not with how the squad is going, not with the depth of the squad. I mean, we are gone down to the bare bones. And are we home? Are we away or are we home for that match? We're home. Well, that makes it a little bit better for us. So, I mean, that's a slight positive as well. You know what I mean? That we are home against Newcastle. At least it's not an away match. But, I mean, I did like, they came out. I had a lot of hope. I had this feeling like, that 44 minutes, I had this feeling. I was like, you know what? I was like, I think we're actually going to go do something today. And then fucking Bruno gets injured, and you just know when the guy that doesn't get injured, you just know it's not going to be a day. You know what I mean? You just know it's not going to happen. You just know it's not the day to go do something. It's not the day where you're going to find a bit of luck when you need it. It just wasn't that day, because that it's the opposite. To lose Bruno, to me, the way you lose Bruno, literally basically out of nothing. That's all the unluckiness you got to tell me that I got to see from the match. And I still held out hope that maybe somebody steps up to the plate. I was like, maybe one of these kids do something fantastic or spectacular or something, but it just it fell a bit more flat in the second half. And I think our captain not being on the pitch was a part of that. I think, he's sort of, he plays good, he plays bad. He's a bit of the glue. And, and already missing players like Mbeumo and Diallo and stuff like that. And, it just was tough. It was tough. So, Box is here, says, yo, Eric, what's up, Box? Lucky says, I seen them Newcastle, they're average. Okay, what do you think we are? Lucky. Relax. Tone it down a bit. Ray says we suck at home. Well, I mean, we're kind of the same all over the place, no? It's just, it doesn't, I don't think it's specific to home or away. At one point we were really bad away, but now we seem to be putting... We're not necessarily getting the final results, but we seem to be doing improved performances on the away side, and the home side, we're just not getting the results either. So, but we're in a difficult period now. I mean, this has totally flipped upside down when you're looking at it. Like Kobe's not going to make it for the Newcastle match, and Bruno, they said has a tissue. It's a tissue. It has something to do with the tissue. So it says it's a soft tissue issue. So it's going to take a while, says Amorim. I mean, that's not good. That's not good at all. I mean, you're telling me at a time where we've lost Mbeumo for a whole month, we've lost Diallo, we're going to lose Bruno probably for a while, and I expect a few weeks. I mean, I'm not a medical expert, but a tissue, a soft tissue injury is not great. So soft tissue issue, says Fox. It sounds funny to say, but it's not funny. 3 to 4 weeks. So Yeah. Ray says Yoro is shit. Well, I mean, I don't think he was like totally shit, but he was shit in the time in specific, those sort of two plays. And that's sort of football. I mean, you can't be shit. You can't switch off. You can't make those mistakes in those aspects. That's what happens in football. You know what I mean? You turn off for just a moment. You turn off for just a second, and that's it. You get punished, and this is what happens. And obviously, he had his work cut out for him. He's got a, mark and guard Morgan Rodgers, who is one of the best players in the Premier League right now this season. I mean, he's hot. He's really hot. He's one of the best players in the whole league. So, and he made. Listen, the first one, it's all on him, okay? The first one, he made like about 2 to 3 sequential mistakes, like back on that sequence, back-to-back mistakes. He let him come inside. He didn't stay tight to him. Even initially, he didn't go out, and he gave him all the space. He should have closed him down earlier. That one is all 100% on Euro. The second one, I mean, the thing I would hit him for is, after that first one, I'm fucking, I'm jumping on Morgan Rodgers' back. Like, the guy, you can't give him an ounce of space. And I don't think he wasn't close enough to him. He was allowed to get the ball. And then he just wasn't fast enough to react to Morgan Rodgers. And because Morgan Rodgers is such a good player, that's why you can't allow him to have the space, because you don't have the speed or you don't have the reaction quick enough to catch him. When he does get that ball, he takes that touch, and all he needs is a little touch and a little bit of space, and he's going to put it into the back of the net, and that's exactly what happened. So, Yo's a good prospect, but been in a poor form for quite a long time now. I mean, he has been in a poor form, and listen, the guy's 20. I'm not going to write him off at 20 years old. He's got to grow. He's got to improve. He's been in a really rough patch right now, but I mean, look, what do we got? I mean, we don't have substitutes. There's nobody. It's not like you can drop him out and then put somebody else in. I think if you had Maguire, if you had De Ligt, I think he probably wouldn't be starting matches right now, because he has been in a rough patch, and I think he needs to sort of go out and sort of like refine himself. But there's the lack of options in the team. Martinez coming on. I still think that they're managing his minutes. I mean, he came on at 45. I don't even think, if it wasn't for the Bruno injury, I think they took maybe a bit of a risk with the 45. Because I don't think he would have came on at a halftime. But, he was done. He's done it. Maybe it wasn't a high risk, but they're trying to bring him back. So the options are thin right now. So it's not even like there's a lot that we could do. Ray says sit Yor out, let him work harder to get in the team. I think that will happen when we have options back. But when the options are quite thin and limited, I don't think there's nothing really you could do. I mean, we don't have Maz. There's no De Ligt. There's nobody. If Martinez could play 90 minutes, you still have sort of a problem back there, because Martinez is left-footed, Shaw is left-footed. Who plays on that right-hand side? Do you want a left footer playing on the right-hand side in center back? You don't really want that. You typically want the right footers playing on the right side, the left footers playing on the left side. This isn't, they're not inverted wingers and stuff like that. So, Xerxes rather start game than Sesko? No, not for me. I think the thing with Sesko is, I mean, he had one really good opportunity that he shot it, and it went into Martinez, and Martinez saved it. The second opportunity was the ball that came in from Mason Mount, and he just couldn't get a touch onto it. He stretched for it. He tried. I think it was, I don't know. Like, he was there. He did time it. It just didn't happen. I don't know if that's from the pass. I don't know if it's because he needs to go a split second early. But it was very close. But other than that, I mean, I still think that there's a few times where he does make some good runs or he does need to get the ball and he doesn't get it. And I think like he needs to be getting the ball in those things. He needs to be getting more opportunities. Um, and when he's not in the team, we cross the ball a million times. When he is in the team, we tend to cross it far less. Doesn't really make sense. We did put in a couple crosses. They weren't really great. Dorgu's crossing is still abysmal. Not good at all. I mean, I don't think he completed one single cross to a player. So Delo's wasn't much better, but it is better. It provided some chances that looked a little bit closer, but nothing really worked out either on that. So we were missing a super sub. We always had super subs. Well, we're missing a few right now. We're missing players. But, maybe so. Maybe we are missing super subs, but that's why we need to continue to buy more players. I mean, we don't have a super sub, do we? So we need to improve. Andresito says, there's something about United that all our players lose form, such confidence. This is a manager thing, in my opinion, in general. This isn't geared towards Amorim. I don't know if it's a manager thing. I think it's a pressure thing. I think it's a pressure thing. I think it's a club thing. I don't know if it's really towards the managers. It could be, but I just feel like I just sort of feel like when you go through sort of like 4 or 5 managers, and that sort of feeling has always been there. I'm just like, well, should we be looking elsewhere instead of the managers? Like should we be looking at it in a bigger picture? Should we say, there's an issue with the club. There's an issue with maybe the recruitment and the players. They don't handle the pressure. They can't handle the pressure. It's too big for them. I don't know. The expectations might be too large. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. I do think that, like, listen, I say it all the time. To play for United, you got to be sort of a special player. The demands are quite high. And, if you don't produce, you will get destroyed. And it's not easy to play for this football club. It's really not easy to play for this football club. So, they lose confidence. I can see why, because it's hard, man. If things don't go your way, shit happens. Pressure piles up on top of you, and it gets really tough in there. And that's why you need to be a special kind of player. We can't just be buying any type of player. We can't just have any player. And, not any player can come to this club and do well. So they do. They do lose form and they lose confidence. Now, again, part of that is part of football. I mean, players will lose form from time to time, especially of certain ages. You expect that. Like Lenny Yoro, I expect him to lose form. I don't see how he would be able to be phenomenal from the beginning of the season to the end at his age. He would have to be some sort of super exceptionally player, sort of like an alien, like a Messi or Ronaldo. And I don't think he's that. I think he's good, and he has good potential, and he needs to grow a lot more. But I expect these guys. Box's subs is Biender Malacia, Montanto, Euro, Fredrickson, Kone, Jack Fletcher, Lacey, Xerxes. Well, now, yeah. Shirt too big for some? Well, I just think it's a lot of things put together, Box. I think it's that, the club hasn't been run well for quite some time. I think that, there's still a massive pressure, massive demand, massive criticism. It's a lot of noise, a lot of outside noise. Social media. I think it's a lot of things. There's a lot of factors that probably, once you start stacking them on top of each other, you could probably paint the picture of, yeah, it makes sense how this tends to keep happening at the football club, because if it's not one thing, it's the next thing, and if it's not that thing, it's another thing, and it's a bit like you're playing catch up at times. Like, you might address something, maybe you're doing recruitment better, but now you have this issue, and then it just seems like we're always playing catch up a bit. So we better go to the market, Lucky. We better go to the market. We don't really have an option. I mean, they don't have a choice, in my opinion. If they don't go to the market, they're just dumbasses. How it is. So, um, Delo on the injuries, he said this is the moment where other players get their chance, and when you have to step up to prove that you deserve your place in the team. I agree with this, and more playing time. That's how players have to see things. We are Manchester United. We have to find a way to win. Well, I mean, we do have to try and find a way to win because we can't just accept loss just because of our situation. But, I mean, I agree. Listen, I don't really see a difference between, if you're going to put somebody in one match and they're not going to be consistently playing, or if they get their opportunity now. So now a lot of these players, this is your opportunity, and let's see what they give us. I'm looking to see, if they're going to step up and take their chance, and let's see what we get out of them, because I think it's also sort of I don't really want to use it as that, because I don't want it to flip back around on the young kids, because again, like I still believe in the development, obviously, of the young kids, and I want the kids to grow and become good and become useful. But now we're in a situation where he is forced to use these guys, so we're gonna see, who was sort of more right or more wrong. Are they going to be able to sort of give us a hand? Are they going to be able to compete at some level? Are they going to be able to step up? Or is it going to be that, the reason why they weren't coming in is just because they're not close to the level yet, and they're still far away, and they needed more work behind the scenes. Ruben says, I'm a manager for 6 years, and even sporting is all about the academy, so it's about the history. Every manager wants to bring players through from the academy and not spend money because this gives value to the manager. He said, I just want to win and want to be certain that the players that come in from the academy are not going to suffer too much. I'm just trying to help the club. It doesn't matter if it's from the academy or abroad. And I mean, I think he's made this quite clear, like, multiple times. So, and again, I entrust him on this because, listen, it's not just him as well. I mean, the people that are running our youth academy, they're the ones that are making these decisions as well. They're the ones that make recommendations to Ruben. It's not like he's running the whole thing by himself. And I think they've been taking their time with their kids for a reason, because they need to get them up to the level. And maybe they're really not there yet. And obviously, you're going to use your best options that you have. The ones that have more experience and the ones that you would hope are more likely to pull through for you. So now he's in a position where he can't really lean on them because we don't have them. So we're going to have to go with these guys. So we're going to see what we get, Is that who had the captaincy? Johnny Hill? Because I was trying to figure it out and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, who had the captain's armband after Bruno came on? So, Johnny said Amorim giving Delo the captain's armband should be a sackable offense. No, I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be at all. Listen, you don't have to rate Diego Delo, but, Diego Delo, if you pay attention, Diego Delo is part of the leadership group. It's him. It's Bruno, and I forget who else is in there, but yeah, I mean, he's part of the leadership group, and there's no Cass, and regardless, Diego Delo has a good mentality and a good attitude, and he does have sort of leadership qualities in terms of the way he conducts himself as a professional, the way he carries himself. So just because you don't rate him ability-wise doesn't mean that he can't be some sort of a leader, and in that moment in time, I mean, I don't know. Who are you going to give it to? Does it really matter who you give it to on the pitch at that moment in time? I mean, we lost Bruno. We lost everybody else. There's no De Ligt. There's no nobody. You could give it to Mount. They give it to Delo. I don't really think it makes that much of a difference. So, Johnny says Maino injured, described as a small issue as well. Ain't no way he's actually injured. Amorim's just cocked himself. See, but Now that I don't believe at all, and I completely 100% disagree with you. And, listen, if you want to go make up whatever narrative you want, go quite ahead and believe whatever you want, but I'm not going to believe that. I'm not going to believe that they lied about the whole thing and that he's being punished and he's been dropped out of the squad and they made up an injury for him. I'm not going to believe that shit. So, if that's what you choose to do, go quite ahead. I think it's fucking stupid, but you do you, man. You do you. I'm not going to bother with that. I choose to believe that, unfortunately, he was fucking injured. I believe the manager. I believe when the manager comes out in the press conference and says that Mainu played well and he actually liked Mainu playing well, and then he said that I'm not going to punish Mainu for his actions of his brother, because actually the manager went through the same thing with his own brother when his brother wrote something online in Portugal and he had to try and answer it. So actually, I think he actually understands the situation. So I don't believe that there's a conspiracy here. I think Kobe was actually injured. I think if you look at the team, we could have fucking used him and we needed him. And yeah, so I don't believe that for a second. So I think he's injured, and unfortunately he's injured. Jack Fletcher did okay, deserves to go again, says Ray. Well, I mean, he's gonna go again anyway, because we don't have. There's no other choice. I mean, there's no other option. Whether you want him to or not, whether you think he deserves it or not, whether he should or not. I mean, they're gonna have to. I mean, they're gonna have to be at least on the bench at the very least, because you're talking Bruno's not gonna be, especially for the Newcastle match. Like, Bruno's not gonna make it. Kobe's probably not going to make it because they said he's going to be out for like about a week. So I don't think he'll make it to Newcastle, but maybe he does. Maybe he does. But, Cass will be back, but you're still short on players. So, and we're massively short on players all over the place. So, yeah. Listen, Johnny doesn't have to like Ruben Amorim. He can support. He doesn't have. He could support the club. He doesn't have to like Ruben. That's just that's fine. But that leadership team is ass. If Shaw and DeLow are in the leadership group, you're finished. Well, I mean, but then really, to me, Johnny, that comes down to, well, it's a personnel issue, isn't it? We need better, different players that have different sort of leadership qualities, and we don't have it at the football club, do we? And maybe it changes. I mean, listen, he announced that at that time. Maybe it's evolved a little bit. I mean, he hasn't said it, but maybe they switched some things around. I mean, Lizandro not being available at all at that period of time. I mean, it's quite hard to put Lizandro in sort of a leadership role when he can't even like train with the team and he's not really involved in any aspect in sort of way, and he was on his own doing his own thing for quite a while. So yeah, Maino fanboys crying. They did it with Rashford. Someone posted it on X just before Rashford was fully removed from the club. He was missing games and he was told Rashford's ill. Okay, well, I will tell you this, until, and this is how I am. I don't care what they did with Rashford, and I don't care what they did with any other player. Until they prove to me that that's fact, then I will not believe it, and I'm not going to entertain it at all, because I think it's nonsense. So I already knew that this is what people were going to come and say. As soon as he wasn't there, and as soon as it was announced as an injury, it went through my head already. They're going to be like, oh, he lied in the press conference and he's being punished and Kobe's out the door now and we're not going to see him play and it's done. I mean, just I'm not going to believe it. I'm not going to believe it. Prove it. I would like proof. I'm not going to entertain it. If he's actually injured, I will apologize, but there's way too many similarities. Well, I don't think it's similar. I think Marcus Rashford had a shit attitude and was quite done at this football club, and he needed to go. And I don't think that's the case with Kobe Mainu, so I don't think that that's happening. To be honest, I think we should have kept Varane around. No way. As an ambassador and a leader, and our leadership team should have been Casemiro, De Ligt, and Bruno. No, I mean, you can't keep Varane. I mean, Varane went to go play. And Varane was on a lot of money. You can't keep Varane. Listen, all we need is that we just need to continue to buy new players. We have to deal with what we got. Like, we're not saying like it's good enough forever, but we have to use with what we have, and this is part of the process. Like, this is the point of a process. Like, we have what we have. We're gonna have to try and find ways to use what we have, and then when we get the opportunities, which is windows, which is January and summer windows, then you go in and you change the team, and you try to build it up, and you get some players that maybe have better mentalities, better leadership qualities, and maybe you develop some younger guys. Maybe they over time develop into that as well. So, but we have what we have. You know, we would like to have better, but there's only so much you could do right now with what we got. So, and anyway, like, listen, you could be in a leadership team, you can be or not be. Like, I'm not really too fussed about all that shit anyway, because for me, like, I look at Matthijs de Ligt, I don't even know if he's in it or not, but it doesn't even matter, because to me it's like, in it or not in it, when he's on the pitch, if you're a leader, you're going to lead anyway. If you're part of the team, you're going to lead anyway. So if you're in a leadership role or not a leadership role, I mean, that's great, but leaders are going to lead anyway. So, it's just about having them in the squad, and we only have a handful. We only have a handful of them. We do, and we've always had only a handful. So we need more, and we need people to step up and sort of fit the role of that. The reason I'm so against Delo and Shaw too is because I think they have been stinky at the club way too long and seem to manage to stay. Well, I don't think Shaw is actually necessarily that bad of a player. I think the big problem that Shaw has always had is that he can never stay fit, and that he would disappear, and also that he would do some stupid shit like how he wouldn't be available for United for like months, and then all of a sudden go play for England. Like, I don't like that, but I think, those periods where we do see Shaw kind of play, that the time everybody called him Shawberto Carlos. Like, I mean, that came from him being able to play for like 3 months, 4 months straight. So I don't think they're bad. And I don't think Delo is bad either. Like, Delo, I've always said, like, Delo is the guy that, listen, is he the most like phenomenal sort of right back in the world? No, but he is good. He has good qualities to him, but sometimes he does go out of form and he plays like shit, and then he gets back in form and he does pretty good. So he's kind of that player. But what we need is like sort of the next step. So I mean, if they're gonna stay, if you're not gonna get rid of them, then you got to get people that are gonna like challenge for their spot. So you build out the squad better. But I mean, we have Noose, but he's not with us. And Shaw's been turned into a center back. So, Eric, you bring good rationale amongst and otherwise over emotional reactionary sheep fan. Well, I mean, just listen. I could be a bit reactionary. I get it to some point. I mean, people are emotional, and when you're emotional, that's where the reactionary comes from. But I'm not today. I'm just not like I'm just not. I don't really feel any sort of fiery emotion today. I don't. I'm just sad. I'm just sad because I feel like it's a bit shit down out of luck at what's happening. It makes it, it's one thing if we have like a full team and we go out and we lose this match, and because then I'm like, well, I turn it up a bit, but when I'm looking at the circumstances, and I'm like, this is just fucking shit, and part of it is just like, we didn't take the chances that we had before, and this is why I was angrier earlier and during those matches, because it was like, we had 5 different opportunities that we sort of blew, that we didn't take the chance. And I'm like, but this is what you have to take them, because you don't know what the fuck is going to happen. Was anybody really going to say like, yeah, as soon as we lose Mbeumo Diallo and Mazawari, you're also then going to lose, Cass isn't going to be available, Mainoo's going to be injured, and Bruno's going to get injured, and now look at your team, and you're like, what the fuck is going on, man? So I just like, dude, there might have been, especially the way we went about the first half. I was like, if this shit wasn't happening to us, we could have actually went and got 3 points. I really do feel like we could have got 3 points. If we just didn't have Bruno get injured, if Mainoo was part of the squad, I think he could have massively helped. And it's just like, dude, it's fucking shit. Like, you look at the bench, you have 2 goalkeepers on the bench, tells you everything. I thought we dealt with danger Villa well. I mean, Villa weren't good though. They weren't good. They weren't really good at all. They were. Listen, they sat back a lot. They were trying to counterattack us a lot. I don't think they were actually very. They weren't really on point a lot. I mean, they were quite sloppy with the ball. They gave away a ball a lot. I don't think they they actually put a lot of pressure on us, which I think we were quite comfortable. But it was those 2 lapses that we had in the back, and ultimately, basically, one guy beat our whole team. That's essentially what it is as well. That's why I feel the way I do, because it's like one fucking guy beat us. It was 11v11. And we lost with 11 players on the pitch to one guy. We lost. So, we all do sometimes react in the heat of the moment, but we have to wide-eyed and look at things with no bias ultimately. Well, for some people, that's just not possible to do. So you just got to sift through them, my friend. That's what I try to do. You just got to sift through them. Some people are incapable of it. You got to accept it. Not everybody's going to be the same. And unfortunately, there just are people out there that are just dickheads or assholes or whatever it is. But, and you'll see a lot of it online mostly. Like, especially on the socials. Especially on, like, X. If you go on X, it is quite like that. So, proud of the defense. We will work more aggressiveness on scoring. Xerxes Cunha, Diego Dalot, Mason Mount. Villa are overperforming this season. Listen, I don't know if they're overperforming, but they're just going out there. They're doing the job. They're making things happen. So they're on a roll. It's 10 matches. And I wouldn't necessarily say they're overperforming, because I sort of look at the league and I'm like, well, everybody's sort of about the same. And this is sort of what I've been saying. Like, all it takes is, like, I don't think they're necessarily overperforming. I think that they've found a bit of rhythm, and they're managing to win matches, and everybody else is sort of in the same shit situation where everybody seems to be quite inconsistent. They can do very well one match and then they don't do very well. I mean, look at fucking Leeds and Crystal Palace yesterday. You telling me that Leeds was going to rock up and beat Crystal Palace 3-1 and they were winning 3-0 at one point? Like, I thought Palace was going to go and probably maybe get like a 1-0 away. So the league seems to be all over the place. And this is sort of what I've been saying. Like, it only takes another two or three teams the way Villa's gone about it, and I think it will happen at some point during the season. Maybe it happens a little bit after this festive period and, a little bit after January, but all it takes is about 2 or 3 teams to sort of do something similar and go on a little bit of a run. And if you're not one of those teams, well, good luck to you, because the gap's going to get really big and it's going to pull further away from us. So I don't think... I don't really think that they're overperforming. I think that they just one that has found some consistency in a league that seems to be fairly consistently inconsistent all over the place with the rest of the team. So, Villa are one of the best teams Europe. Stop expecting to get something from it. I'm not. I mean, what do you mean? Stop expecting to get something from it? Did you not watch the match? We were there. We had the opportunity to get something from it. How can I not expect to get something from it when I'm watching the players play really well? And we had the opportunity there. and Euro fucked up for the first goal, and then we rectified it. We sort of made up for it because we capitalized on their mistake, and then you lose Bruno. And it's like, well, if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for some of the circumstances, I think we actually go win that game today. I think if Bruno doesn't get injured, I think if we have Kobe, I think if we have Cass, and, I'll be nice and I'll still exclude the AFCON players because they're not going to be there. But if we had just a couple of those guys, I think we could actually go and win this game today. But when you start going down the list and you're like, well, no Diallo, no Embuemo, you lose Kobe, you lose Bruno, Cass is out, and you look at and then you say De Ligt's not there as well, and Maguire's not there as well, and you're looking at it and you go, you know what, it's a bit unfortunate because it's like if we weren't so down to the bones with our team, the way Villa played and the way we played, I think if you throw in a couple of our stronger players in there, I think we actually win this match, which is why I feel down. Because I think it was there for the taking. I don't think Villa were very good at all. Like, they may be on a 10-match run. They've found consistency. Sometimes that's what it takes. I mean, look at Arsenal the other day. I watched them. They didn't play fucking great against Everton, and Everton can't do shit going forward. But guess what? Like, they're at the top of the league because even when they don't play good, they manage to get the win. Sometimes it doesn't matter about how you're doing it. The 3 points is what matters. And, for us, it was sort of the opposite. Like, we played pretty good today, but we couldn't figure out how to get the 3 points. Villa did it to us. They didn't play great, and they found out how to get 3 points, but they didn't have a good match. Team versus Newcastle, says Box. Lemons, Heaven, Martinez, Shaw, Delo, Casemiro, Ugarte, Dorgu, Mount, Cunha, Sesko. I don't know if Lisandro can play more than 45, maybe 60 minutes. I mean, if he could play 60, you're gonna have to sub him off. I don't think he could give us a full game. I don't think he could give us a full 90, so I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what he's going to do. But Heaven should play again for sure, and Shaw will be in there, and maybe he's just going to have to go with Euro, and Euro's going to have to sort his shit out. When you're limited in options, there's not much you can do. So, I don't know. Only he knows. Only he knows the fitness of Martinez. Only he knows what the medical team is telling him. It really depends. It really depends. We don't have the full picture. I mean, if they're saying, listen, the maximum Lisandro can play is 45 minutes, we can't push him more than that. Because remember, this guy's been gone for a while, and he did look good out there. But you don't want. I don't want him to get re-injured. We need him to stick around. We need him to make sure that he's full butcher again. So if they say you can only play 45, you can only play 45. I mean, do you start the match with him at 45 and sub him off in the second half, or do you start with Euro and sub him off and put him in the second half? To me, it's a bit sort of back and forth. So, Murray says give heads up to Heaven, thumbs up. Well, listen, yeah, I mean, that was one of the positives. He played really good, and he's gotten better over the past, and I sort of expected it to a certain extent. I mean, listen, the first 1 or 2 matches, he was rusty, so you could tell there was a bit of a lack of sharpness. It's a difference between him and Euro right now. Euro's in a dip of form. Euro's been playing, so Euro is out of form. Heaven is in a different circumstance. He wasn't playing. He's coming in. He's got a little bit of, I guess, like a fire to try and, this is his opportunity. You know what I mean? This is what we've been talking about. Like, this is his opportunity, and he's trying to take it. And I think he's doing it so far. And I think just from one match to the next match to the next match, the only thing that was sort of holding him back was just sharpness. And, you can see, if you look at how he played today, you compare it to the first match he played, I mean, it's like night and day. So, good for him, and he needs to continue to do it. And we're gonna have to continue to use him because I don't know when the hell Delit and Harry Maguire are coming back. These guys, and it's unfortunate because these guys, the injury sort of comes out of nowhere, and then they're like, yeah, they'll be out for like a week, and then next thing you know, it's like 5-6 weeks later, and they're still not back, and it's like, well, we need you fucking back. We can't really have this. We can't really have this. Like, as much as I admire some of your qualities, and when Delit's there, he's been really good, and Maguire has sort of a good mentality and attitude, but it's like, bro, you can't be. It's the same thing I said for sure. You can't really be, and it's the same thing I said for Mount. You can't really be. Like, how good are you if you're not always around? Because this is what happens. Like, we rely on you, and then some shit happens, and now you're MIA, and now we're fucking like struggling without you, and we're like, dude, we rely on you a lot. Like, you have to be available. You got to be around. We can't afford for you to be going missing for five weeks when we thought you were supposed to be out for a week, and now all of a sudden you're gone for 5 matches. So, Villa getting the job done, but the stats indicate as well as the eye test, it's slim margins. Yeah, and but sometimes that's all it takes in football. Scoring a lot of worldly goals, which is not sustainable. It might not be sustainable, but it might not be sustainable. And I would even say that maybe it doesn't sustain itself. You're right, I do agree, but it depends. When you talk about sustainability, well, I mean, we could say, at some point maybe it'll run out, right? But I guess it's all about how long can you keep it up. I tell my Arsenal friends that shit all the time. They were scoring all these goals from set pieces. I go, listen, that's great for you, but I said I would be worried because I said you guys have scored 50% of your goals from set pieces, literally 50% of their goals in the Premier League. It might be a little bit up or a little bit down now because it's been a couple games since I checked that stat. But I'm like, dude, listen, like, you're scoring 50% of your goals in the league from set pieces. I go, what happens when teams start sorting that out and that dries up? I was like, that's not going to be very good for you guys. So, but I mean, it took, if you take it back to last season, I mean, they were scoring a lot from there. It took a while for teams to sort of stop them from scoring so many. So, because they were at one point they were like scoring a shit ton, way more than they're scoring now. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, they listen, are they going to be able to get away with this for the rest of the season? No, but right now it matters a lot because they're getting away with it now, and other teams aren't sorting themselves out, and they're not getting away with it. So this is how they're creating the gap. And if it ends for them, well, it's about specifically for us. I mean, what are we going to do? How much are we going to be able to close the gap on them or do something similar to them when their luck and their small margins runs out? Relying on 1 to 2 key players, but that's football, yeah, and this is what happens. So, my friends are not my friends. I literally sat and watched the match with 2 of my friends, and they're both Arsenal fans, and they were not happy about the performance yesterday. Okay, they weren't happy about the performance. They're worried. They are worried. I could hear it in their voice. They're worried because they're not liking how they're winning the matches. They're worried. They know. They can see the signs. So, it's not me. I'm taking it from my friends and, from what I watch and what I know. But, I agree with them. Like, listen, you go to Wolves, they had a really hard time, and Wolves scored all 3 goals. I mean, they didn't score a goal. And you play against Everton, and they didn't really do anything special. And listen, they got a pen and they scored, and that was the only goal. And so, I'd be worried if I was them too. But I told them at the same time, listen, I said, listen, it might not be what you want, but I was like, you're managing to get 3 points. And I was like, that's important because I was like, you guys used to drop and drop a lot of points and get, draws. And I was like, imagine you drop 2 points there and you drop 2 points today. That's 4 points. Where would you be? You'd be fucked. So I was like, you got to take it as it comes in hopes that you guys sort of get out of this funk and get into a better rhythm. But that's about it. I'd bring Yoro on as a sub versus Newcastle, but he needs some time out, in my opinion, get his head focused straight. I agree with that. It's just that when you look at the circumstances, it's like, can we really do it to that full extent? Because I'm saying if we have like let's say like we get the Lit back or we get Maguire back, I think I say like take Lenny out and then and put somebody else in. Quite obviously, quite clearly. But if it's like if you don't have Maguire, you don't have Delit, we don't have Maz, and again, I'll go off of I don't I'll say Lisandro can't give us more than 45 minutes. It's like you're gonna have to sub him in anyway. So maybe it makes a difference him coming off the bench. I don't know. Maybe that's what you go for, and you put Lisandro in first, and you sort of give you know give Leach a 60 minutes if he can have 60 minutes. I don't know. I think Ruben is just like us, and I think Leach is the rest. I think what we want is Leach to play 90, but I think Ruben is following the advice of sort of the medical staff in terms of they manage the minutes very well. I don't think that they ever over push the amount of minutes that they're supposed to play. I don't think they're in the taking risks of that. It's not worth it, as we've seen in the past. It's not worth it. So, yeah. Ray says we have to stop giving goals away. 6 goals in the last 2 matches. Well, yeah, but it's a lot of. Listen, the defense is suffering right now. The defense is suffering right now. The defense is weak, and we still tend to make a couple mistakes in positions where we can't be making mistakes as a team. You cannot be giving the ball away in certain areas that we give the ball away that lead to the goals. So, there's a few things that we need to round out, and I think hopefully, obviously in due time we should be able to get rid of that. But yeah, those are areas that we're struggling to do. So. I've seen passages of play and period of play where United are looking good. We need to maintain that throughout games, and consistency will come. Well, I think. Listen, we are. I think we are. I think there is something sort of building here, and I would look to see how it goes over. As we go a little bit further down along the lines, I think the one big thing that I've noticed is we've definitely gotten way better at pressing the ball. Way better. I mean, if you think about us trying to press the ball, go back about 2-3 years, we were fucking shit at pressing the ball. I think we're phenomenally better at pressing the ball. I think we press better as a team. I think we choose the better times to press, and we're winning balls in the opponent's half a lot more often than I remember us used to be doing. So there's things that have improved around this team, but there's other things that obviously, we're gonna have to continue to push forward and figure it out. And, right now one of the things is obviously we need to figure out how to stop conceding so many goals. And part of it I think is just a longer process in terms of some of the players are making better decisions. You see how we're moving the ball a bit faster. It's a bit more instinctive at times. We're not taking too many touches on the ball. We're doing more one-touch passing. We seem a bit more confident with it. We're driving a little bit more forward now. These are all good positive signs. We just need to sort of round out, some of the decisions still aren't that great. I think so. We need to continue to push that area to make it stronger. Because I think at one point it was really bad. I think now it's like decent, but it can definitely be better. And we need to get some crosses in. And defensively, I mean, one of the goals for Bournemouth came because it was just a stupid thing to do. It was a stupid thing to give Shaw the ball there. Shaw, just weak, lost the ball. We caught ourselves out. And then there was a couple of times even today, where we gave the ball away. It's just a stupid pass. It's a stupid decision to make. It's a stupid thing you make the pass right there. You put your teammate it's like a hospital pass. You put him in a really bad situation, and they get the ball taken away, and then all of a sudden you're giving the team against us like a breakaway. We can't be doing that sort of thing. So, yeah. Um, I've just come in, but I guess you excuse another baboonery based on cheap excuses such as squad problems and injuries. Yeah, I don't really care, X. I don't give a shit. I don't really care. I don't really care. Um, Lindelof was brilliant today. Yeah, okay. Dude, he wasn't special at all. Look what gets him away from our bullshit. Yeah, all right. Keep telling yourself things to make yourself feel better about your opinions. The positives were somewhat present. Having made a very good game, he controlled the center of the defense to the best of his capabilities. Very good physics, positioning, and was also smooth debuts today. Nah, but see, I'm not having that either. Like, horrible moment to debut them. I listen. I again, if you're gonna make it here, then get debuted whenever you get debuted. I'm not here for this shit. I don't believe in that because what? So because today was a bad day for him to debut them, so he shouldn't have put them on. So that when he didn't put them on, when the match ends, everybody would be like, "Oh look, he didn't even put them on today," and then fucking hammer him for not putting them on. So no, like that's bullshit. He didn't listen. The situation was if it was his way, he wouldn't have debuted them today. He had no choice. Look at this. Look at the thinness of the squad. You don't have a choice. If he had a choice, they wouldn't have debuted today. Probably. This is what I said at the beginning. So people be happy that they debuted. I'm happy that I got to see them. Sure, but I'm not. Like anybody that thinks that like this guy is like sort of going to change the whole thing. He's only adapting to the situation. That's all he's doing. People asked for adaptability. That's what he's doing right now. He's making do of what choices he has. And his choices aren't great. If he had full choices, I guarantee you these guys wouldn't have came into the game today. You know, again, even if you take it just to one step and you say, well, if Bruno didn't get injured and Kobe was there, would we see Jack Fletcher? Maybe we would have. Maybe we wouldn't. I think it's a strong argument to make. But when you look at the team, when you look at the depth, what is he going to do? We're losing the match, and there's no. They're the only subs. They have to come on, whether he thinks they're ready or not, and whether they're ready or not. They got to come on. They have to, because we have no other options. So they needed to. They needed to do it. They needed to come into the game. I'll be blaming Amorim for the weather next climb. And listen, I think today was just we played very well the first half. I think I think a lot of unfortunate circumstances came out of today, and I just think that it's just shit out of luck. I feel very hard done by today in terms of just the whole aspect surrounding the squad. I ain't mad at nobody. I ain't mad at any of the players really. I'm disappointed in Euro. He's got to do better on that, but today, for me, today is not a day where I rant. Today is not a day for me to be angry. It's not. It's not. I don't feel that way, and I'm not gonna do it. Is there any credible news about Mano? Is he en route to Munich? He's injured. Accept it. There's no conspiracy theory. I think they would be quite stupid to lie about that, considering how things leak out of this football club, and considering how I don't know. Ruben talked about players feel quite entitled to go on social media, and that hasn't stopped them before. I think it would be quite stupid to make that whole thing up. I think it would be quite stupid to create a whole thing where he comes out and adamantly defends Kobe Manu multiple times in a press conference, says he plays good, and then fake injury him and punish him by kicking him out of the squad. I don't really believe that. I think we've seen this guy before, and if he kicks you out of the squad, I think he'll make it abundantly clear that he's going to kick you out of the squad. I don't think he gives a shit enough to hide anything. He's not that type of guy. He's said many things before. He said things that people don't think he should say. They call him and they say that he's too honest sometimes. So I think if that was the actual fact, I think he would just come out and say, I kicked him out of the squad. So I think he's fucking injured. And that's it. Yeah, and I'm glad he put them in. And people should be, because listen, for the people that think he's ultra super stubborn and have said that he won't change and won't do anything, I mean, if you want to break it down, in my opinion, a guy that is that super stubborn, he didn't actually have to put them on. Like, I'm saying, like, you have no choice. But realistically, he could have just been like, fuck you, I'm not playing any of you. And not put them on if he really wanted to. I think it would be stupid and illogical to do that. I think that would be quite dumb to take that position, which is why I'm like, you really can't, because I'm thinking from a logical point of view of like, you have no other options. You got to put them in. But ultimately, if he really wanted to, he didn't have to put them on the pitch. He could have just been like, I'm not playing you guys. And that's the end of the story. So he did it. You think we played really well in the first half. Why? We played well. The first half, we played well. We controlled the game. We were doing well. There was a sense of a feeling on the pitch that we could have went to go do something. We were in the game, considering, if you look at the optics for the match, considering the players were missing, I was very unsure about what was going to happen today. I was quite nervous because Villa are on a very good run. They're home and we're away from home, and we're missing key players from our team. And I'm looking at the game and I'm like, well, we're in this. They're not looking that great, and we're having like more of the possession, and we're doing more in their half than they're doing in our half. So I think the first half, we had a good half. Like, we had a better half in the first half than they did. We were the better team, for sure. We needed to go a step higher, and my hope was, we go, and the second half, we figure it out. But obviously, the injury to Bruno, I think, took us down a level, unfortunately, losing our captain and losing the work rate from him. And then, you start combining all these other things, not having somebody like Meno in the squad already. I think a lot of things was just against us in circumstances outside of sort of the match itself, in terms of like, players playing. Like, I think Mount had a good game. I think Cunha was a bit of a letdown. Like, he did score a goal, but we were sort of looking to Cunha, especially when Bruno went out. We were like, we need somebody to fucking step up. And he had a couple opportunities to take it, and he didn't. He missed a couple good chances, and the game was sort of, it went a little bit backwards from there. We're playing Lisandro Martinez in the midfield. I mean, that's where we were at. Like, we had Lisandro and Ugarte. That's not, it's not a midfield that I would like to have. I think Lisandro did well there, but he had like about 22 appearances in the midfield at Ajax. He hasn't played there for quite some time, but he did well. But it's just not the ideal personnel that you want in these positions when you're trying to go and create and win a game. So the second half, it went slightly backwards, and I look at it and I'm like, we lost a match to one guy. Like, we lost a match to Morgan Rodgers. I don't even consider that we lost a match to Villa. And listen, credit to Villa and the defending. They make it very hard. They were quite tight, and there wasn't a lot of space, and they made it very difficult to try and create things. And when we went down, it was hard, because we were a bit fortunate to tie it up. But I think, considering Lenny should never let Morgan Rodgers do what he did on the first goal, I felt like it was a bit sort of justice in that, our player made a big fuck up. They capitalized on it. We forced them into a fuck up. We capitalized on it, and we went into halftime 1-1. So, news on Bruno's injury. Well, like Bach said, apparently Amorim said that it's a soft tissue issue, or soft tissue injury. And could be 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, I don't know. Bruno's a bit of a freak of nature, so maybe it's not that long. But he is human, so we have to remember that. So, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, the circumstances aren't good. They said Kobe could be out for a week, so I don't see. I don't know if he'll be able to make it back for Newcastle. I hope he does because we absolutely definitely need him now for sure, 100%. The good thing is Cass will be back, but still, I'm sort of looking at it and I'm like, I think you got to go with Mount and Cass in the midfield if Mainoo's not back, and obviously no Bruno. I think you're gonna have to take Mount and put him there, and switch the up front, and have Cunha, Sesko, and put somebody else there if it's Xerxes, but he seems to put Xerxes where Sesko is, so I don't know. Amorim has given debuts to Heaven Obi, Amos, Fredrickson, Jack Fletcher, and Lacey. Yeah, well, now they can't really say that he hasn't, right? So, but listen, we're gonna need them anyway. So, this is the time. This is the time, and this is how football goes. And I think this is what Ruben sort of tried to explain. Like, football is like this. Like, it might not be ideal. Maybe it's not, if you consider the proper process of it. Maybe they should have gotten minutes at other times. But this is what happens in football. I mean, Aiden Heaven got his debut because of injuries. Once upon a time, like, these things do tend to happen in football, but now it's about, like, especially the kids, especially the players, like, they shouldn't give a fuck about really the circumstances. The circumstances isn't really that important. The important thing is, and I think all they should actually really care about, and I feel like it is what they care about, is, I don't give a fuck how I'm getting the opportunity. The opportunity is here for me now. So, now it's on me. I got to take it. It's time to step up. So, I hope that they do. I hope that they do. I hope they can give us something, a little bit of magic. I hope, listen, Lacey came on. I was a bit pissed at Cunha because he didn't pass him the ball. And I think Cunha was a bit selfish in there, in that. And I think he should have gave him the ball, and it fell to Lacey anyway. And Lacey took a decent shot, but it was straight at the goalkeeper. But, you put that in one of the corners, and it's a very, very good shot. And it's one that's going to be hard to save. So maybe he scores it or something like that. So, and Jack Fletcher did decently well. But, I felt like with the circumstance of the match, it was a bit hard to. I think he was getting a bit lost. Not him personally, but just like how the team was operating. It was a bit. He was getting a bit lost in there. Yeah, I think it was a bit like just unfortunate circumstances for him in that situation, and how the team was and how the match played out. So, Darren plus Jack Fletcher are the second father and son duo to have appeared for Manchester United after John Aston Sr. and Jr. Well, there is his brother as well, so we'll see. I mean, listen, Montanto didn't get on the pitch. Maybe he'll get on the pitch the next one. He is a winger, so he is an attacking player. I did see. I think it was either I think it was Bruno or Mason Mount, but one of them actually went over to Montanto, and they were talking to him after the match because, yeah, I mean, we'll see what we're gonna get. I mean, Ruben said we're going to suffer with all these absences. I mean, I think that's quite clear. Like, but we're going to try to find solutions to win, and really, that's all we can do. I mean, this is the situation we're in, whether you like it or not. I mean, that's how I feel. Like, you look at the situation in terms of the squad, and literally it's quite ironic because it's like we've gone from complaining about there's too many players and there's not enough games to now it's like we don't have enough players. And it's like, well, the only thing we could do is try to find solutions to win. It's the only thing we got. I mean, we're in a bit of a sort of a helpless situation. So, Ruben also said, I think Kobe, Mainu, and Bruno are out versus Newcastle. He said, we're going to find solution, no excuses. We need to win the next game. Well, I expect nothing less from the manager. I mean, the manager doesn't need to be making excuses, and neither do the players. But as a fan, I'm going to be quite concerned. And, yeah. He also said, what we must absolutely not do is act in haste and make mistakes. So I'm not going to go to Jason Wilcox or Omar and tell them that we need a lot of players. We have a plan. We're going to stick to it, even if we have to suffer. I mean, I get the point, but I would also say, listen, sometimes, the plan can't be so rigid. I don't think we should panic. I don't think we should like throw everything out the window, but part of having a plan is you do need to sort of minor adjust the plan as you go along and as things unfollow. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to like go get an abundance of players, but I think definitely like we do need to make some minor tweaks and we do definitely need some help. So, um, the game was very stretched at the end. Yeah, and that was also always the problem. Like, I was watching it with my father. That's why I didn't do the watch along. And I was telling him, like, my father felt like he was like, even he said he's like, listen, I think we're gonna go win today. But this was before Bruno got injured and shit. And I kind of felt like we could have gone and done it, but I said to him, I was like, listen, I was like, what we can't do is I was like, we can't let them score first because I was like, the way they're playing, they're trying to hit us on the counter. They're sitting back. They're letting us control the game. We're having more of the ball, and actually, we're doing quite well with it, even if they're making the space quite tight in front of the box. But other than that, we had loads of space in all the other areas. So I was like, we can't let them score first because if they score first, I was like, they're gonna make it even harder for us. They scored first, and we managed to get one back. But when they took the lead back again, then it was like, you're gonna get away with that again. Like they took the lead and they gave it up. The chances of them giving up the lead again while they're at home and after we lose our captain and we lose Bruno, it started looking real slim after that. You know what I mean? So, Lucky says Manchester United expected goals X per match 1.45. Yeah, we needed to go a little bit higher than that. But that's pretty good. I mean, 1.5 is pretty good. But I would like it to be closer to 2. A 1.93. Because in the match like today, for example, like, we scored 4 against Bournemouth and we were home, obviously. So, but then you go into the match today, we needed some goals and we only managed to get the one. And here we are, we didn't get any points. So, but listen, the attack has improved for sure. I mean, if you look at it from last season to this season, even so, the attack has improved and it can go higher, and I'll look for it to go higher. But I think it's a good sort of indication that progress is being made in that area, and we need to continue to push forward with that. So it's not all bad. There are some encouraging signs. There's some signs that we're worrying about. I think it's normal. I think it's part of this whole thing that we have to go through as a team, as a squad. And we need to just continue to chip away at things and find some answers. Box has been a strange season, to be honest. Felt we were the better team today, same as opening day versus Arsenal. Very unlucky to lose that, but we've underperformed versus lesser weak sides, etc. Yeah, it's that whole thing of consistency, right? So I feel like in the past sort of couple matches, like the Bournemouth match and even today, like, it's quite a different feeling to what we saw against like West Ham and Everton, where like there was a real lack of attacking intent. And it seems to kind of go, a little bit back and forth as it is right now. And, right now we sort of have it in a certain way. Like we are moving the ball better. We are driving forward better. We're still creating like decently good opportunities. We need to hold on to that and continue to hit that. And then we need to figure out something, defensively, because that's still been always our issue. And it's one of the issues that's obviously lingered over from last season and it's into this season. So, last season we had sort of double issues at times where the attack was very lackluster and the defense was not great either because of, we concede goals. But yeah, I think there has been improvements in the attacking area and we need to sort of get improvements in the defensive area. And then we just have to continue forward with both. Um, but I mean, we're sort of at like still at a path that I kind of feel like, like it still can go either way for us. Like it can get better or it can get worse. I still feel like we're still toting the line a bit. I mean, right now we sit in seventh, on 26th, and everybody's played the same amount of matches. So I mean, we're again, we're still 3 points off of Chelsea, who are sitting in fourth. Liverpool are tied with them on 29 as well. So now, if we get fortunate enough that results might go our way in the next upcoming matches. I mean, we have Newcastle, so that's going to be tough. So, we could go a little bit backwards here, but and then depends what happens here, because I mean, if Chelsea win, Liverpool win, and we take a loss, that gap's getting a little bit bigger, and that's not good. And then Palace is on points with us, and Sunderland is here, and Brighton and Newcastle. I mean, that Newcastle game is they call it a 6-pointer, but really I would add an extra 3 points onto it, because Newcastle are in 11th on 23 and we're on 26. So I think it's like a 9-pointer. But yeah, listen, the league is a bit strange this season. I kind of like it because it's sort of unpredictable, and I think that sort of makes it exciting. I think some leagues in the past that we've seen happen, it's been all but like way too predictable, and teams have run away with it. So I sort of like this aspect in general, in terms of for the league, that it is quite unpredictable. I would just like my team to not be so heavily a part of it. I would like for us to just find a bit more consistency, and find we have to find a run somewhere. Ultimately, that's what's going to make or break us. Can we find some period to sustain a decently good run? Because I mean, it's not all bad. Like, listen, if you take last season and you put it in here and you start talking about 30% win ratio, obviously it looks very bad. But when you look at it into this season, and you look at what's going on, and even the last sort of the form, it is just inconsistent, but it's not horrible. It's not as bad as last season. Last season was quite dreadful. So we do have an opportunity, a 12-pointer. I mean, at this point, yeah, because just of what's happened over the last couple matches, we failed to capitalize a couple times at home, and now we have to play Newcastle, and that's we don't know what the other matches are going to be like. So I mean, if they go our way, it might not be a 12-pointer necessarily, but if they don't go our way, if these teams that are like Chelsea, Liverpool, Sunderland, Crystal Palace, Brighton, even Everton and Newcastle and Brentford, I mean, I don't know who they have to play, so maybe a couple of them are playing each other and maybe they knock themselves out. But, with what the circumstances we have right now and going to play Newcastle, I can't be as confident. We need to win. We desperately need to win the match. We have to do everything we can to try and win that match, and I hope we do win the match. But I'm looking at the squad and I'm looking at our circumstances surrounding just the personnel, and I'm like, this is the shittest time for this to happen. And part of it is our fault because we didn't capitalize in the past, and these situations can always pop up. And now we're in sort of, knee deep in the shit. And we're going to have to do something that, I don't feel 100% confident in that. Are we going to be able to do it? The one good thing is that we do play Wolves after we play Newcastle. So that's the only sort of positive here, is that you would expect that that's sort of a free 3 points. We are home, and they are continue to be the worst team in the league, and they continue to have 0 wins, and they have 2 draws, and they have 15 losses. So that might be one of the only bright things to come out of this. I don't know what's going to happen against Newcastle. I don't know. Let's say, I think obviously we desperately need 3 points, but I guess we have to wait and see how the other sort of, performances go. But actually, how does this go? Because like, when are the other teams playing? Is what I have to see, because obviously we're the only team playing on Boxing Day. So are they playing before us or are they playing after us? They don't play before us. So we play Boxing Day. So we play Boxing Day and then everybody else plays on the weekend. So we're the opposite now. So we're playing before everybody. So yeah, I mean, it's even bigger because we don't know what's going to happen. So now it's probably, I say it's more on us because since we're playing before everybody, ultimately, you know, we don't want to leave it and say, listen, we get a draw under the circumstances. Maybe it's like, you say whatever and you live to fight another day. But then it's also like, well, we don't know what's going to happen in the matches that's coming after us. So, if it's the opposite way around, we see them play first and we say, listen, we obviously want to win, but if we come out with a draw, this considering what's happening to the squad, and then we go play Wolves, it'll be okay. But, we can't really take the shot or the chance on this, can we? So, I mean, and listen, Newcastle have sort of the same, in the last 5 matches, they have the same form as us, two wins, 2 draws, and a loss. And we have the same 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. Slightly different order, but, we're about the same. So, but last 10 matches, they have a better record than us in terms of they've beaten us 5, we've beaten them 3, and we've drawn twice. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, listen, we'll see. But other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate you guys coming through and pulling up after the match. Bit of a downer. I feel down. I do. I think you could tell by my energy and my voice. I feel quite low today about all the shit that sort of transpired, and it's brung me down. Like, it's just like, it's just like things happen and it's just like you can't really believe it. It's like fucking Kobe gets injured and now Bruno's injured, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know. But look, we'll look to bounce back. We'll see. We'll go live tomorrow. Look for the show at 8 p.m. UK. We'll definitely go live. Everybody be good. Stay safe. Thank you for your support. Thank you if you smashed the like button. I didn't even ask people to smash the like button. So if you did smash the like button without me asking you, I appreciate it. If you didn't and you forgot, just please make sure you do it on the way out. Greatly appreciated. But yeah, everybody just take care, and we'll see what tomorrow brings us. We'll discuss a little bit tomorrow. I'll digest it a little bit, and we'll look forward to the Boxing Day match that's coming up very quickly, because it's going to be on Thursday, so it's going to be midweek and after Christmas. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But other than that, take care, be good, enjoy the rest of your Sundays, stay safe, and we'll see each other tomorrow.